So, as a real estate professional here in Northeast Florida, ever since COVID, we've had the great Florida migration. And it's particularly in the Northeast region. Jacksonville has a bustling job market. So, that's one of the big reasons why a lot of people move to this area, as well as taking advantage of Florida taxes and tax benefits. And then, of course, finally, particularly in the St. Johns County area, a lot of folks are moving to this area due to the schools. In the last year or so, though, we've had going through some major growing pains. And it's not just this year, but it's over a period of time. I'll go over those numbers of what that looks like in this particular area. And because of those growing pains, our schools have also received some backlash and some bad media. But mostly, as of recently, it's been backlash of social media because of the proposed rezoning in St. Johns County for the 24-25 school year. Now, with that being said, I get a lot of calls from folks that are considering the area or clients that are building here in the area, and they're asking me the question, that comes up to top of mind is, are St. Johns County schools really that great? And as a real estate professional, I can't answer that question, but I can give you the facts and the information as they are so that you can determine if it's a right fit for you and your family. I did attend the meeting last week for good reasons, and I can go ahead and share some of the resources and information that I discovered attending those meetings last week. So let's get after it now. So before we get started, let's go ahead and just reaffirm that here we are on niche.com that in 2023, best school districts in Florida. Number one on the top of the list is St. Johns County School District. Number two is Sarasota County Schools in Sarasota, Florida. And then number three is Fort Walton Beach, Okaloosa County School District in the Panhandle. So these three are the top three school districts ranked by niche.com as the best public school districts in the state of Florida. Now, one thing I want to just clarify, just because they rank the school district the best in the state of Florida, doesn't mean that every school in St. Johns County is top rated ranked schools. So you can go scroll down here to this map area here, and this will give you a map of St. Johns County, and niche.com will have the schools rated or graded on this map here. And then you can go ahead and see that which areas, particularly in St. Johns County, have the highest rated schools according to niche.com. So that could be some very helpful information for you if you're trying to figure out what region would be ideal for you. As you notice here, there's a lot of great schools in the northwest section of St. Johns County. There's a lot of great schools in the northeast section. As you get closer to downtown St. Augustine, the grading gets a little less than the northern section, and so on. So this is a helpful resource for you if you're trying to figure out a region that has some of the better public school system. And now once you decide on what area you want to be in, you can use greatschools.org, and this is a great valuable site because you can actually punch in the name of the school and the city it's in particularly, and get more detailed information about that school so that you can find that it's a great fit for you and your children. So those are two resources, of course, that are very useful that I like to send my clients to. And so going back to St. Johns County and the point of this whole video, are they great? Well, you've got greatschools.org to determine that yourself. But lately, as of lately, we do, or even in the last year, we've seen articles here, such as this one. Last year, St. Johns County School Board approves 7 new attendance zones. Changes aim to address overcrowding. Schools in the county experiences an explosion of growth. So again, we have a great migration here in Florida. We have massive population growth, and of course, it's affecting our schools. So the school is trying to pop out as many new schools as they can. And for the 24-25 school year, we are going to have 2 newer schools starting up that they built, beautiful brand new schools. And so again, in this 2023 year, there is a proposal last week for rezoning. But not only did it affect, of course, those areas where the new schools are, it's also affected some rezoning proposals for some other areas here in St. Johns County as well. To add to the craziness of it all, it didn't help that back at the end of last year's school year in May, the media reported that St. Johns County School District receives a record 137 employee resignation in May. Districts experiences the largest end of the year employee exodus amid ongoing impasse of salary negotiations. So not only is the school district having to build new schools and get them funded to handle all the massive population growth, but also they have to update salaries for employees that feel like they deserve more compensation. So that doesn't help things either. So I just want to address this population growth we're seeing in those headlines. It's a real problem, and I checked out on the web to see if it was accurate, and the numbers did coincide on several sources that I checked out. But here on usafacts.org, it says it pretty clearly that the population in St. Johns County in 2010 was 191,000. In 2021, it was reported at 292,000, which is a growth of 52.9%. And of course, what really caught my eye here was that the comparison of the growth in the U.S. across the country was 7.3% during that time. And in that time, population growth just in Florida alone was over double at 15.6%. So we've seen massive growth here in Florida, and I have to say it's not really changing. Recent article here broadcasted in June of 2023. Great migration continues as more Americans flee to Florida in Texas. So again, I can attest to that as well. The population growth is still continuing as people still flocking to Florida, and definitely finding St. Johns County a viable option as well. So let's get back to the main topic of discussion of how this is affecting our schools. Okay, I really want to take a moment also just to share with you guys a fantastic resource. It's actually the St. Johns County School District website. It's a fantastic website, and I really encourage people and parents especially to get involved and really learn what's going on in your community. And this is a fantastic resource for you. I do share with my clients this website specifically for them to go down to the schools section, drop down and do the attended zoning. That way they can go ahead and punch in the name of the address of the home they're considering, and it will tell them what school district they're in. But other than that, there's so many more fantastic resources on this webpage that I really encourage people to go ahead and get on this website. And by the way, I'll have all the links to this video in the description below so that you can find it. And I'll tell you what, it's a fantastic resource. They've done a really good job with this website. I mean, right off the bat, I would say get to know your district, understand what they're dealing with before you just assume things or make assumptions off social media, and try to get involved, because we need to be figuring out solutions to our problems, our growing pains here in St. Johns County, and understand who the people are that are helping run this massive organization. I mean, if you think about it, realize how big it is. I mean, we have 51 total schools here in St. Johns County, 2,779 total classrooms. So pretty big whole organization they're running here. Here you'll have class size ratios. I get that question a lot. You'll have also the financial facts. I mean, we're talking look at this budget. I can't even say the number. It's so large, but we're talking about $511,000,000, $826,844. So $500 million of operating budget and operating and fund payroll. So this is a massive, massive organization, and a lot of the income sources for this, 44% of it is local, 56% of it is state, and 0% of it is federally funded. And also take note, for those of you that voted for the half-cent sales tax in the 2015 election, talking to some of the people in the school board, that really helps. That funding really helps with a lot of the newer school builds that we've had over the last few years. So again, learn to work your way around this website. You'll also have on the news and media page all the future upcoming meetings. Some of the meetings you're able to attend virtually, some of them in person. And so they really do a good job also recording them for you so that you can also catch them on the back end if you're not able to attend, so that you can really understand what's going on, understand the staff and the people that are doing all the work for the future of our children. Okay, so let's talk about this last board meeting, which kind of was a surprise to some, including myself, was some of the rezoning. Now, it wasn't a complete surprise because we do have 2 new schools that are coming into play in the 24-25 school year. And the last meeting, as I said earlier, I did attend the meeting. It was a town hall meeting that gave the opportunity and parents and families affected by the rezoning, or will be affected by the rezoning, to attend and voice their opinion. It was at Beachside High, which is actually one of the newer high schools they just completed by Beach Walk. And what a beautiful school. My gosh, I went over there. It's incredible. I wish I could have gone to a high school like that. Beautiful. But anyway, I'm still here on the St. John's School District website, and I'm going to go ahead and just put new schools here in the search, and let's check them out. Let's see what comes up here. And so with all this massive growth, the county is just trying to keep up by building new schools, and a couple of these schools are under construction and will be opening up in the 24-25 school year, and that was what is affecting the zoning. And this meeting was a proposal, and it allowed locals to voice their opinions and solutions and concerns and whatnot. And we had a good amount of people there, for sure, more so from particular communities. But the schools that were in question was the new K-8 school that's referred to as NN, and that one is going to be in the Shearwater community. And I'll get into a little bit more showing you the proposal that they outlined for us. But more or less, this new school is in Shearwater, and they proposed 3 different zoning plans for that would affect residents in Shearwater in the surrounding neighborhoods. The second school that is opening up also in the 24-25 school year is the K-8 school in the Twin Creeks Beacon Lake area. And this school is referred to as OO, and it's a K-8. And of course, it will be affecting the Beacon Lake neighborhoods in the Twin Creek area and that area. So beautiful schools, by the way. You have to hand it to St. Johns County, because the schools they have built, they are absolutely beautiful, and I'm super blessed that my children have the privilege of going to these schools as well. I mean, absolutely incredible amenities. And I was talking to some of the board members in the committee afterwards, and the cost of construction, talk about inflation, is not just it affects them in these buildings and their budgets. I mean, you used to be able to build these schools for $40 million, and now it's almost costing double. So if you imagine what goes into the process of building these schools, and they're just having a hard time keeping up with the demand with all the massive development of residential here in St. Johns County. So this is another school that is proposed. It's PP in Rivertown area, and again, that is not until the 25-26 school year if make those timelines. So this was not a topic for discussion, but this is another school that will be in the pipeline for Rivertown 25-26. So as they said in the meeting, there's nothing new about rezoning here in St. Johns County. Again, we had it last year, and we'll continue to have rezoning. And again, in Rivertown, they will be having some rezoning too eventually when they build that new school. What else do they have here? Beachside High, which is where the last meeting was at. Beautiful, beautiful high school, is in Beach Walk. In that one, it has been completed. So kudos to the St. Johns County School District. Also, Toccoa High School is another one that is in the International Golf Village area. That is another high school they built. So, man, they've done so much already, and these schools are beautiful, but we still need more. And just like any organization, they're taking out loans to build these schools, and there's only so much debt you can take on as an organization. So they've accomplished a lot, and they are really trying to work with us as the public to, find solutions for our children. And so it is not an easy task. But going back to the main webpage, News and Media, they shared with us their proposal, and it definitely can be a little confusing. But again, if you're considering moving to the area, not only should you get a really good real estate professional to help you with figure out what's the right fit for you, but also someone who is really well versed in what's going on in the area if it is a concern to you as far as public schools and what they look like, what the zoning is going to look like in the future. Okay, so we're going to look at the presentation that was at the town hall meeting with the proposals for the new zoning in 24-25. And just to summarize this presentation is available online, and it's 100 pages long. And so it's really intimidating when you first look at it. But really quick, one of the big things they wanted to show, and I kind of showed you that in the population growth charts earlier, St. Johns County is growing, and you see massive growth in between 20 and 2022. Again, you'll see it in our schools. They pointed out here, you'll see growth from 4%, 2%, and boom, 7% growth in 2022. So, which is a massive growth, which is hard to contend with that kind of massive growth so quickly. And then, of course, the percentages go down a little lower, and that's because DeSantis proposed a new funding for folks that want to consider private schools, which I'll get into a little bit here shortly. But really quick, the first two major zoning or rezoning, if you will, is for the new schools. And the first new school, as they referred to in Shearwater, is called the NN School, and that is in Shearwater. And basically they did three proposals, A, B, and C. And there is currently a school in Shearwater, an elementary school, or is it a middle school? And that is called Timberland Creek Elementary School. And it is in the front of the neighborhood near 210. So they have 3 proposals, and the first one is for those folks that live near that school, that elementary school, is to continue to attend that school, and the rest of the communities goes to the new K through 8 school, which is referred to as NN. And so that is one of the options or proposals, Plan A, that they had suggested. Plan B was really simple. It was basically just zoning all of Shearwater to the new K through 8 school. And then Plan C was the least popular of all the plans, and that one was to have most of Shearwater most of Shearwater to go to the new school, and then part of the Rivertown being zoned for the new school as well. And that is the least popular plan they mentioned, because I think Rivertown is going to have their own new K through 8, hopefully in 25. So not many people were interested in that plan at all. But if you notice, they mention all A, B, and C plans and what schools they affect, what neighborhoods they affect. So if you're in that area or you're considering Shearwater, then this is the part of the presentation that you want to check out on those 3 different options. But again, I think Plan A and Plan B were more of the popular options for that. Plan C didn't seem to be very popular at all. Okay, so the next big topic for consideration was the second new school that is being opened up, and that was all the way down here in the page 60, which was the new school referred to as OO, K through 8. It's located in Twin Creeks, Beacon Lake area, and there was only really 2 proposals for that, which affected a couple schools, and that would be Ocean Palms Elementary and Landrum and Liberty Pines. So that was only had 2 different proposals, and again, you can see what their proposal outlines look like on the Plan A here, which affects Ocean Palms and Liberty Pines, and then the Plan B, which including the neighborhoods here in green that are affected, and then Plan B, which is the zoning is right here around the 210 area in blue, which has a less effect to Liberty Pines. So there was only 2 options for that rezoning. I didn't really gather from the meeting which one was the more popular option of those 2, but really what I think a lot of the attendance was the unexpected, or at least I didn't realize that it would happen, especially being an agent, a real estate professional and selling homes here. I really didn't see the new proposal for balancing out the overpopulated schools in the Palencia neighborhood area for those that are attending Panchetti Elementary School or middle school, and I didn't see the rezoning that they're proposing for the Seabrook region, southern part next to Pine Island Academy. Those were 2 proposals that were not very popular. Again, I didn't see it, but certainly the options for the Panchetti Bay students to be rezoned for Sebastian Middle School did not fare well for parents that have their children in Panchetti Bay. A lot of the folks there live in and around the Palencia area, and so that one definitely had some of the most attendance. Rightfully so. Panchetti Bay Middle School has a higher score or rating on greatschools.org than Sebastian Middle School. And then, of course, finally, we have a lot of people that are upset here in the Nocatee area, because a lot of folks that are building in the Seabrook collection, which is the next newest phase of Nocatee, They all just assumed that their students would be attending Pine Island Academy since it's in that vicinity. It's very close to the school, but this proposal suggested switching them over to Valley Ridge Academy, which is one of the more established schools on the west side of Nocatee. So a lot of folks were caught off guard on that proposal and obviously did not like that. But the bottom line is that we have they call it balancing, if you will. We have over capacity in all the schools, and so the argument for families were simply that we're not really solving any problems. We're basically just shifting children around from one overcrowded school to the next. So I think in the Nocatee case, they have land that has been allocated by the developer, the park group, for another K through 8 school, the 4th K through 8 school in Nocatee, and that has not got funding yet. There's talk in the area that people are hoping to, that new school will solve a lot of problems here in Nocatee. But again, it's not in the pipeline right now because we still have to build a K through 8 in St. John's, in Rivertown. So from what I understand, a new K through 8 school in Nocatee it doesn't really have the funding right now. Not saying it won't, but that was a big question. And then if you go back to Palencia area and in the Panchetti base parents, they're not too happy because Nocatee's had all these new schools being built in the area, K through 8. And they have had no K through 8 schools built in their area to solve their problems, rather than being bused down to, over 10 miles down to Sebastian School. So there was a lot of discussion, and I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to our schools are overcrowded. Our development is going way too fast in this area that the school district can't keep up with the development of schools. And so at the end of the day, what are the solutions? And we can try to build new schools and get the funding, but we can't do it fast enough. So let's talk a little bit more about the different solutions. And I just want to remind everybody, these are affecting the students that are going into 8th grade won't be affected naturally. They'll finish off at their current school. But these families that are affected, this is a proposal at this point. They're not deciding till November. They opened it up for discussion, and people were discussing the numbers and the shifting and who should be shifted and who shouldn't. And it was a massive debate, but nothing has been decided. So let's talk about some solutions here. So what is the solution? Well, some people are considering right off the bat, if this proposals go into effect and their students are affected, their option is private school. And so as you may know, that in the spring, Governor DeSantis signed a universal school choice bill into law earlier this year. They're calling them school vouchers. And basically the vouchers provide K through 12s with scholarship worth an average of $7,700 to attend a private school better suited for academic needs. The funds can be used for tuition along with other related expenses, including books, testing, and registration. So basically, for those that do not want to be affected by the rezoning, I'm sure this will be a consideration. And this is where you can do it. It's called stepupforstudents.org, where you can apply. I think you do have to provide all your information, including Social Security of your child and also your income. And here it gives you a little bit more information for qualifications. Now, I will say I have heard of people that did already try to get their students into this program this fall. And there's no guarantee that the private school of your choice will be able to take your children in. And so these proposals that come into play, I can't imagine how many people that are affected are going to try to go this route, and how many people are going to flock towards private schools to take advantage of this scholarship program. So that is one option if it is available to you and you're considering it. Maybe you want to consider it as early as January, because they're announcing these rezoning in November, and it wouldn't be popular to take your child out of school in January. But I can imagine in the fall of 2025, I don't even know, can you get your kids in private school in January semester in K through 8? I don't know if it's possible or not, but I would get ahead of the game, because they're going to be announcing the rezoning in November, and switch your kid over sooner than later rather than wait for fall. And then the other option is, you can move, you can sell your home. And of course, I've already noticed some people in consideration of that. I already noticed people looking in different areas to move, depending on how they're affected and if they will be affected. They're kind of seeing what's available out there. And so I do have a home to sell program. And if you are considering moving, I'd be more than glad to give you, a free estimate of what your home would go in this market today, or say January. And if you're considering a new home purchase in a different area, we can talk about a way that you can save money on the listing fees of your current home. If I were to list your home as your broker, it's an opportunity to save money, and another option as well if you are serious about selling, so that you're not affected by this. And we'll come to find that out in November. So what other solutions were brought up and have been talked about here? Let's get into that a little bit. The solutions. I don't think there's any quick answer to this massive problem, but at the end of the day, we need new schools. We need funding. I think, like any organization, I said it before, the county can't take in any more debt until they pay off the debt that they currently have. And as you've seen, that they've been building quite a number of new schools, and they still have a couple in the pipeline. I would say that half-cent tax benefit that we voted in law was very beneficial. So that was a pretty good solution to help build some of these new schools. I think at the end of the day, though, we have to think about, as the county needs to think about slowing down development in issuing so many permits. As a real estate professional that's in the business, I find, at least in my specialty, single family homes, we could do a lot better with larger home sites and larger homes, because they're building a lot of smaller homes. They're building a lot of apartments, multifamily. They're building what they call villas, or more essentially duplexes that share a wall. And I can't help but think that they're making more money doing that, because those infrastructures sharing the same roof line and whatnot is cheaper for development, and they can make more money for it. They may counter argue that and say, hey, for affordability, we need to build smaller homes to make it more affordable. But at the end of the day, we need to slow down that massive development, high concentration, especially multifamily. You're putting a high concentration of population in one specific area, where that's why the schools can't handle it. You're bringing more children in. So I think that we have a bigger picture here. It's not just the St. Johns County School Board. It's a bigger problem. It's the permitting department. It's probably getting into politics here, which I don't really want to touch, but we have to think of the big grand picture. And I think everybody's done really well with what they've had to work with. That whole thing about building more apartments and smaller houses and duplexes is a personal gripe I have. But, I don't know the whole picture. That's why I'm trying to educate myself, show up to these meetings, and listen to, what the options are. I would love to see more developers and builders involved in this problem. I'm sure everybody would, and I don't know what that looks like. I know that the developers here in Nocatee, the Park Group, have developed land for the schools that was free to the county, but of course they're getting tax benefits for that donation of land too. But what can builders do or developers do with future development, future builds that maybe can add a fee onto that for new people moving onto the area to help fund the schools, the infrastructure, or whatnot. And so we have a massive problem, and these are all solutions, I think, that need to be discussed, and we need to educate ourselves on how it works. And I have to say that, again, from my experience of being at that meeting last week, they are listening, they're responding. I've heard some people say, hey, they're not responding. From my experience and people in my circles and my clients, I feel like they have responded as much as they can. It's probably very inundating of what they're having to go through. And they haven't done this before. And I know there's a constant rebuttal that, well, they're just shifting the problem. No, they're just trying to keep up with the development for a much bigger problem that is beyond their scope. So we all have to get together as residents of the St. Johns County, and we need to really band together on higher levels. And unfortunately, that might mean politically to try to slow down development, if you will. Yeah, so that's really it. I think this has been long enough winded. Again, I just want to, if you've been watching this video, I want to thank you for sticking around to the end. And again, I want to offer that home to sell program to anybody that's considering moving. If you're thinking about selling, that could be a benefit to you to save you a substantial amount of money depending on where you're moving to. I'd love to be your resource of choice. And of course, if you're considering the area, I plead with you to get a real estate professional that is showing up to those meetings with their clients like I did. And I tell you, reach out to someone like me. If you don't call me, call somebody that that is knowledgeable. Ask them, hey, were you at the meetings? Are you aware of what's going on in St. Johns County? So that you're equipped to make the right decisions for you and your family. So I'd love to be that resource. I have a ton of videos. Please check them out. My information will be in the description with all the links you saw here today. I'll include all those links. My information will be in the description below. You can text me, email me, or call me. That is my cell phone. It doesn't matter if you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, 180 days. Don't wait. Call me now, and let's talk about the options that are available to you. And I look forward to seeing you on that next video.